Hello friends, I'm making this presentation on effective communication, specially addressed for article clerks, fresh young chartered accountants, and also chartered accountants at the middle of their career, because effective communication is one of the keys to a successful career growth. Now, communication is both at the personal level and at the professional level. While these tips would be applicable both for personal and professional communication, it is more addressed to professional communication such that it results into uh, improvement, enhancement, and fast rise in the career. And who doesn't want to have a growth in one's career? As they say, a picture speaks more than a million words. The intent here is to have effective communication such that a few words would have the effect of a million words. In this picture, which is a recent one, you will find a prominent singer touching the feet of our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It says it all. It says so many, conveys so much of message in that one single picture. Our effective communication has to be such that with minimal words, but having effective words, you end up making an effective communication. Now, communication, in my view, is essentially two things. One is listening, and another is communicating through speaking. So, communication equals listening and speaking. If you notice, I have made two boxes, and two boxes are of different sizes. The listening box is bigger than the speaking box. In my view, therefore, listening is a more important element of effective communication than speaking. We tend to believe that the more we speak, the more effective we become. Well, that's not true. Unless you make the communication effective, it will not be an effective communication. And listening is a very important ingredient to making your communication effective. So, what is effective communication? Which is normally between 1 is to 1 and addressing to an audience, speaking to an audience. 1 is to 1 we are generally good at, because over the years, all our life, we have been communicating on a 1 is to 1 basis. And we get immediate feedback if the person is listening to us, is attentive to us, is understanding, is appreciating, and so many other signals that we get on a 1 is to 1 basis. But when you speak to an audience, we do not have the liberty and the privilege by which we get an immediate reaction from the audience. So, this exercise, to repeat, is going to be an exercise of some suggestions to make effective communication, especially while speaking to audience and also on a 1 is to 1 basis. So, as I said, effective and active listening is going to be an important element of this presentation. So, we'll go through the skills and techniques to make effective and active listening. So, what is effective communication? Effective communication is the cornerstone of successful interactions, whether in personal or professional life. As I said, it is applicable to both professional setup and a personal setup. Effective communication enhances understanding, builds trust. When you speak effectively with proper body language, with proper content, you come out as somebody who is sincere in his talk, and he builds trust and he fosters cooperation. As a senior, you would be looking at cooperation from your staff, from your juniors, and also cooperation from your seniors. And effective communication will help you get that cooperation. This presentation will highlight strategies, some key strategies for improving communication skills to achieve better outcome. The whole presentation is aimed at making you a good speaker, not only a good speaker, but an effective speaker. Now, an effective speaker has everything to gain and nothing to lose. And everything to gain in his professional life would mean success, higher responsibilities, higher position. Key strategies for effective listening are active listening. Pay full attention to the speaker, maintain eye contact, and avoid distractions. So while you're listening, it is your duty to listen to the speaker. And if you are speaking as a speaker, you ensure that your audience maintains a good, clear eye contact and avoid distractions. So that's part of effective listening, because when you effectively listen, you're also giving a signal to the speaker that the communication is happening properly. Reflect on the speaker's message and provide verbal and non-verbal cues. If you to to ensure that you are part of effective communication, give those verbal signals which show to the speaker that you are listening, understanding, and perhaps appreciating also whatever he's saying. Non-verbal clues: nod your head, bend forward a little, look into the eyes, bring that spark in the eyes, smile. All those are part of non-verbal clues. Asking clarifying questions to show that you are having an effective communication. Ask questions. When you ask questions, the speaker realizes that you have paid attention to what he is saying. So whatever communication is happening between you and the speaker results into positive result. Now, some of the key strategies for effective communication: clear and concise message. If you should realize that anybody who is listening to you, in a way, is doing you a favor. Either he is forced to listen to you because you have called a meeting, you are the senior, you are the boss, or he comes because he believes, he attends your presentation because he believes that he has something to gain out of it. So, for him to gain something out of it, what you convey is very important, and it has to be clear and concise message. Use simple and straightforward language. Language is a very important item to be ensured, such that the jargons that you use, the words that you use, are appropriate as per the audience. It is no use using high sounding jargon to an audience which is not able to appreciate that. So avoid jargons, technical terms. Actually, it confuses the listener. And once the audience is or the listener is confused, he loses interest, and you have one more person who is not interested in what you are saying, who is not listening, who is not part of effective communication. Structure your message logically and provide relevant examples. It is always a good idea to give examples. Examples people understand well, and they also remember, because stories are something which we remember very easily. I, for one, normally start my presentation with a story, and I think starting a presentation with a storyline or making an effective point with example adds to the clarity. Non-verbal communication. Be aware of your body language, facial expression, and gestures. When you speak, bring out that sincerity. That non-verbal communication is very important. So be aware of your body language. And what are some good body languages? We'll talk about that in the later slides. Maintain an open posture and use appropriate hand movements to support your message. Your hands should be used as something to support the message that you're giving. Use eye contact, very important. So be aware, maintain open posture, use eye contact. Very important, non-verbal communication. Some of the gadgets that can be used, some of them, not all of them, depending upon the place and the time and to whom you're speaking to. Normally, it is a good idea. If you're making an extempo presentation, it will be a good idea to have a chat. To obviously, if the slides are made by somebody else, Ensure that you know your slides well, knowledge of the data show, the hardware that is used, the use of the pointer, the mic button, the podium mic, the timer. The timer is very important because it is expected of you that as a speaker you would speak within you would start and end your presentation within the time that is allocated to you and not overshoot. So the chat, the knowledge of slides, the knowledge of the hardware, pointer, mic, podium, time to check on your speed. Impressive postures, hands in the pocket. No, not a good posture. So ensure that you don't put your hands in the pocket while you're speaking. One hand in the pocket, tolerable, acceptable. Hands facing the audience, yes. In a way, lock your hands in such a way that they don't distract the audience when you're speaking. Hands folded on the chest, unless you're Swami Vivekananda and giving a sermon and addressing your disciples. Hands folded on the chest is an absolute no. Standing with a tilt, no. It shows that you are not confident of what you're saying, and you would want to get some confidence by holding the table or the chair or tilting on one side as if you are seeking cooperation, seeking support from that object. Moving about on the presentation area, no. Moving on the dais is actually a distraction. People get distracted by your movement. It is better avoided unless it is necessary. It is always a good idea to stand on the dais at one place in a good posture with minimal hand movement. Look at the audience, look at everybody in the audience, and make an impressive posture. Wearing anti-glare glasses, well, less said the better. Non-speech communication. Non-speech communication is also very important, as in, after taking a deep breath, people realize that you've taken a deep breath, and it generates a lot of oxygen, it absorbs a lot of oxygen, it gives you confidence, it clears all the clog that you have in mind, and you're able to make a good presentation. Your dress, the look, a proper grooming, proper dress. The walk to the podium is very important. A confident walk to the podium conveys so many things. As they say, an impression is made in the first few seconds when a person sees you. Your walk to the podium is a very important walk, and that gives lot of effective communication. A slow walk, a slumpy walk, a walk where you're bending your shoulders would give a very wrong impression. A place on the stand, place to stand, very important. Decide where you would stand and speak. Protocol in the start. At a public function, you are expected to respect and introduce and play and pay respect to the seniors and organizers on the dais. A protocol is always in place, and if it is not aware, it is for you to find out what the right protocol is, get the names of the people, know them well by name, and use the correct protocol. Sitting after the presentation, the walk back after the presentation is also a very important communication. A confident, slow walk which conveys that you have enjoyed what you have said, that you are sincere of what you said, and people would see your sincerity and your confidence when you walk back to your seat. So, sitting after the presentation is also something which you need to be aware of and make it happen. Indirect advantages, well, very few have the courage to speak to an audience. As I said, 1:1 is easily done, but speaking to an audience requires courage. But if you gather that courage and if you take the opportunity, it gives you a great advantage. Audience tends to listen and remember. They'll remember you that you said something. It's a chance to perform. Any presentation, any speech, any communication is a chance to perform, and it should be seen as an act which should be done with utmost sincerity. It's a chance to share your views. It gives you chance to share views, catch the eye of the decision maker. It is a standout in a crowd. With your effective communication, with your good presentation skills, you will stand out and you will be remembered for so many people for such a long time. In the end, friends, I would like you to remember that effective communication is a continuous process that requires practice and active support. Every communication, small or big, requires a continuous practice, and it's a continuous process. What you presented today, and if you made a good presentation, an effective presentation today, is not enough. You got to practice, and the next time that you communicate, you need to communicate with the same intensity, with the same sincerity, and the same effectiveness. By implementing these strategies, which I've tried to discuss in short, you can enhance your communication skills and achieve better outcomes in your various aspects of life. So, as I said, effective communication backed by continuous effort and active effort would result into a positive achievement in your life, both at the personal and professional life. I hope you liked my presentation. I made short, brief key points. Thank you for for listening to this episode. If you liked it, do give your comments in the comment box, and should you have any questions, I would be happy to address them to your satisfaction. Thank you. Thank you for watching this episode on effective communication.